Well, it's always a great week for new comics, but it's time to take a look at the list and figure out what I'm getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. Now, I want to welcome you to another episode of What I'm Getting. This is the show every week where I take a look at the comics that are solicited to come out. I have to figure out how to fit the ones I want into my weekly budget of $50. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. Now, I love getting started with these lists with the book I'm most excited for. Now, before I do, if you're new here and you're interested in comic book unboxings, reviews, haul videos, and stuff like that, I encourage you, hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell icon. That way you're notified when new videos of mine go live. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's get into this week's list. Like I said, lots of new books that out this week, a lot of new number ones. Honestly, just a great week for comics in general. The last new comic book day before Halloween. Now, like I said, I like to start these lists off with the book that I'm most excited for. And this week, that is Inferno #2 from Marvel Comics. Inferno is written by Jonathan Hickman. I know there's like a rotating cast of art or artists for this issue or for this series. So I'm not sure who's doing the art in this issue, but I imagine it'll still look great no matter who's doing it because all the X-Men titles look great. But anyway, Inferno Jonathan Hickman with House of X brought me in to comic books, and man, was it awesome. And this direct follow-up series answers a lot of the questions that were opened by House of X and Powers of 10. And this is going to be the transition point into a new phase, a new era of the X-Men universe. So this series is going to determine whether or not X-Men and stuff stays on the pull list. But right now it is safe and sound though. It's got a cover price of $5.99. I'm just getting the cover A to kick off my Marvel pull list. Now, let's go ahead and continue since we're talking about Marvel. The next book on the list is Amazing Spider-Man issue 77. Amazing Spider-Man, last two issues were written by Zeb Wells, with art by Patrick Gleason. I have loved the stories so far. I've loved the artwork, like 10 out of 10 out of 10. So 30? What? That doesn't make sense. But I love it. It's just awesome. So I'm definitely down for the ride for the foreseeable future. So Amazing Spider-Man 77. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. And next up from Marvel Comics is Marauders issue number 25. This used to be one of my favorite X-Men related titles. It's definitely dipped a bit ever since 10 of Swords ended, but I'm excited to see how this final issue wraps up. They're starting Marauders with a whole new creative team I think in January. I don't know if I'm going to be down for that ride. We'll see. I'll pick up issue 1 and tell you. But for now, Marauders 25 is on the pull list with a cover price of $3.99. Just getting cover A. And the last book on my Marvel pull list this week is Wolverine issue 17. Wolverine, written by Ben Percy. I feel like it's finally picking up steam again ever since we got out of the 10 of Swords event. I'm really excited about this direction. I'm really excited to see how, once Inferno wraps up, the direction Ben Percy really takes Wolverine with this new miniseries we got coming up. But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. For now, we're just looking at Wolverine 17. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. And that's the last book on my Marvel pull list. So if I just stick to the list and don't buy a bunch of extras, then I'll just be looking at a $19 total for Marvel this week. Not bad, kicks, not bad. Now, let's move on to the distinguished competition. From DC Comics, it's actually a light week for me, but DC tends to always make up for that with some sort of anthology or special issue, and this week is no different. So this week we got Batman The Long Halloween Special #1. This is a one-shot from Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, the team behind the classic Batman Long Halloween. So I'm very excited to return to that universe and just see how things are going. I shouldn't say that universe. The Long Halloween was absolutely an in-continuity story, but excited to return to that time period at least, and get a story that's kind of different from this dark horror that James Tynion's been doing lately. It should be a really good issue, and I hope so, because it's got a cover price of $7.99. I'm getting the cover A. Next up, a brand new #1 from DC Comics, DC versus Vampires #1. Really taking advantage of that Halloween release date. It's written by James Tynion, which definitely gives me a reason to buy it. It's James Tynion doing a version of horror, which seems to be what he's best at. Hear me out. You know I don't do horror books. I love superheroes though. I loved Deceased, and DC can't get super horrific with its horror. So this one, I'll give it a shot. If it's too crazy, I'll probably just drop it after issue 1. But for now, it's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next up, Detective Comics issue 1044. Detective Comics by Mariko Tamaki with art by Dan Mora. This is the series that I've slept on the most in this Infinite Frontier era. There have been so many books. Detective Comics kind of always falls to the bottom of the pull list, which sucks because I've heard that Detective Comics is actually one of the better Batman books. It might even be better than the main title. So I'm excited to binge this week and see what I've been missing out on. Detective Comics 1044 has got a cover price of $4.99. I'm getting the cover A. And rounding out the DC pull list is one of my favorite titles. This is Robin, issue number 7. We are knee deep into this whole Lazarus tournament. And, it's just been dope. It's action packed. This series I thought was just going to be like some meaningless side quest of a series, but it's not. There's a lot of really great character development. So if you love Damian Wayne, you got to pick up this series. Go ahead and just go find the single issues. You can find those Francis Manipul variant covers. They're super awesome. But for me, I'm sticking with cover A's. It's got a cover price of $3.99. And that's it for the DC Comics pull list. So if I just stick to the list, my DC Comics are going to cost me $21, which means our grand total is at $40 so far. Not bad. I still got $10 going into the indies. It's too bad one of those books from last week got moved to this week, or I'd be under budget. But let's go ahead and take a look. So this week from Image Comics, we've got Gunslinger Spawn number 1. Now I'm aware some people were able to get their issues last week, but due to a paper shortage, there was a variant that didn't come out. And so my shop and others decided to push the release back to this week. So Gunslinger Spawn number 1's got a cover price of $5.99. I'm getting the cover A and the connecting cover C. But yeah. And then next up from Image Comics also is Philadelphia issue 18 from Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander. Now, I just reviewed volume 1 of Philadelphia. This was a series that I loved so much after reading issue 1 that I just blind bought all the rest of the issues. I think it was like issue 10 was the latest at the time. Well, I've just gotten around to reading volume 1. And while I loved it, I really loved the series. There were some moments that got a little too mature for my liking, and I've heard that it continues that way from issue 7 onward. So issue 18 is going to be my last time buying Philadelphia. Maybe I'll get around to reading it, maybe not. I just like my books a little bit less mature, but great job so far. Philadelphia 18's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Next up from Image Comics. It's just all Image all the time today. We got another one from the McFarlane, the Todd father himself. This is Spawn issue 323. Now, I always love getting Spawn because it's always got great artwork. The story's always like, although I've heard it's been getting a little bit better lately. But I buy this book for the art. And if you're going to buy a book for the art, why not buy the Todd McFarlane cover every time? So this one's got a cover price of $2.99, and I'm getting the Todd McFarlane cover B. And lastly, rounding out my indie comics pull list is The Walking Dead Deluxe number 25. This one from Image and Skybound. Robert Kirkman's, probably biggest hit, or at least most well-known title, is The Walking Dead. It's a series that I missed out on because I wasn't into comics back when this was coming out. So when they started releasing these deluxe issues with full color and cardstock covers and a bunch of extras in the back and David Finch doing the covers, I just can't say no. And I'm not this week either, so it's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. And that is it for my indie and creator-owned pull list. If I just stick to that list, I'm looking at $17 this week, which brings my grand total to $57. Now, if it wasn't for King Spawn, my total would just be $51, which would keep me under budget after discounts and stuff. So I'm not going to drop anything. I'm not going to go overboard. It was just an off week. I don't need to drop a title. But that's what's on the list. Now I want to know what's on your list, because I know there's some books, some new number ones that I know some people are going to think I'm crazy for not getting. Most notably, probably House of Slaughter #1, followed by Nita Hawes' Nightmare Blog #1, which is a spinoff of Philadelphia. So you can see why I'm not picking it up. But those are the books that didn't make my list. What's on your list? What are you super excited to read this week? I gotta know. So let me know in the comments below. Now, if you want to talk comics with me all the time and not just in the comments of YouTube, then you gotta join the K Squad. It's my private group of comic book fans, hobbyists, speculators, all of them. They're all in the group and they're all dope people. So if you want to be a part of this dope squad of people, then you got to go ahead and join. You can join in 2 ways. You can join on Facebook or on Discord. Different strokes for different folks. We have fun in both platforms. Now, go ahead and use the link in the description below to join the K Squad. And while you're there, check out some of our channel partners so you can save big on collected editions, on collectibles, and all sorts of other stuff. But until next time, I hope you saw something you liked in this video. If not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.